Hey guys, this is Kevin from News Rocky, and you're tuning in live again for this update on the impeachment trials going on in D.C. This has been going on now since last week. In a sense, it has been going on since 2016. The second stab at an impeachment of President Donald Trump, the 45th president of the United States, going on as we speak in Washington, D.C. All for what? We're going to be talking about this today on News Rocky, so make sure you stay in the ring or get knocked out. All right, and welcome back, and here we are. Hopefully we do have somebody on the News Rocky show. I think Mr. Kuzik's going to be, Kubrick rather, is going to be calling in, somebody who we want to get some commentary from. But as you hear in the background, listening to News Rocky today, we can hear the actual audio of the ongoing impeachment hearings. They're going on in Congress today down in Washington, D.C. Now, this broadcast might be coming to you after this hearing is done. We might be broadcasting this in a day or two, and this isn't old news, because the news of the day, the reason that News Rocky wants to talk about what's going on down in Washington, D.C. is simple. This didn't start last week. It didn't start with the assault on the Capitol, which no one has condoned. Every Republican, conservative, and the President of the United States, Donald Trump, has condemned the behavior. The passing away, the murder of a Capitol police officer. Not one person has stepped up and said, thank you for that. But yet the other side of this conversation, they don't just smell blood like sharks. They want to drink the blood. They want to make sure they see Donald Trump not just given his walking papers as President of the United States, but never to be able to run again for any elected office. Each and every one of these folks that are getting up on the House floor, the Democrat and liberal motivated policymakers, are flat out telling you, they're not hiding the facts, guys. They're telling you that this is all about a pushback against Donald J. Trump and never allowing him to run for office again. Guys, ask yourself why that is the case. Why do you think that this is going on? Why do you think that Donald Trump came into this White House as the 45th president? He ran against 17 other Republicans. And by the way, Donald Trump isn't a Republican, folks. He's not a Republican or a Democrat. He's a business leader who he himself admitted used to buy his way in with the powerful people. The Nancy Pelosi's he's donated to. Hillary Clinton donated to. This is the person now that came upon his point in his life in his 70s. In 2015, he said, I'm going to run for office for the President of the United States because it's just that bad. This business leader was told by the national corporate media, was told by other political foes, there's no chance we could dig up hours and hours and hours and hours of testimony and statements from the national corporate media and the control Republican and Democrats who said Donald Trump doesn't have a shot. Now today, Lindsey Graham now acts as a friend to this president, but back then, Lindsey Graham was even criticizing him, calling him a lunatic. The problem in Washington, D.C. is what we hear in the background. Too much talk and not enough action. Why are we, the taxpayers of this country, wasting our time to watch an impeachment hearing take place in Congress? For what? It's theater. It's complete theater. This is about trying to bring in and bring in information that is perpetuated by corporate media to bring down Donald J. Trump from ever running for office again. Guys, I don't care if you like Donald J. Trump. Think about it for a moment. Our Constitution guarantees us certain amendments. The First Amendment provides us with what? Freedom of speech. They are using this activity that took place and almost making Donald Trump as if he colluded and planned and executed this assault at the Capitol. Guys, do you remember what happened all summer? How many assaults took place across this country? How many people got hurt and injured? How much property was damaged? And how many of these politicians who are standing up today, Republicans and Democrats, who are now sitting there pointing their finger at the one person who isn't a politician, who didn't change his tone since the day he entered office. Donald Trump said, I'm going to kick in the doors of Washington, D.C., and I'm going to drain the swamp. And guess what? That's why Republicans have returned. That's why Democrats can't stand him. And that is why 80 million people voted for him. Black, Hispanic, white people came out across this country and supported Donald Trump. We hear the noise of the corporate-controlled media. They don't want you to hear that. We got an opportunity last night. I took an opportunity to listen to Don Lemon. I wanted to give Don Lemon, this professional corporate media spokesperson for the Democratic Liberal Party, I wanted to give him a chance. I wanted to hear what he had to say. And all he talked about in his smirky little smiling way, with his smirky little educated face, was how much this was coming from day one. No shit, Don. You've been calling this since 2016, bro. You've been wanting to have this happen since then. You and Nancy Pelosi, the people you cooperate with, because you see, news is created. It's not reported. I could also watch you on the same trash station, CNN, the fake news network. Is the guy Cuomo, Governor Cuomo's brother, Governor Cuomo, who murdered more people in New York City, Governor Cuomo, who comes out and gets awards from the national corporate media because his scumbag brother carries his water. And his scumbag brother who tries to report news, who actually, again, just helps create a narrative to protect his own. You're all disgusting. News Rocky is tired of it. We're tired of the fake news perpetuated. And you know what? How much fake news can we talk about today? In this story that we're talking about, that you hear in the background, and you see these folks rising in support of impeachment, that they know is not going to happen. They don't have the Senate votes. They don't have enough votes in the Senate to get this passed. And you know what? Why are they doing it? Some of you are going to say, well, that's what should happen. Let them go on the record. They've been on the record, guys. They failed the first impeachment. They failed the first impeachment. They're going to fail this impeachment. Donald Trump is going to leave office. Joe Biden's going to get sworn into office. And the investigations will ensue on the Trump administration, family, and anyone connected. And mark my words, until each and every person involved in this process who represented one side of this administration, meaning the Donald Trump administration, they will have people turning. There will be more investigations. This doesn't end today. And I want to say this to the Democratic-controlled liberal media who wants to push this agenda. You complain about what happened last week. You have seen nothing. You are going to erupt this country. You are going to destroy the democracy that we have because of your gluttony. And you know what? We'll continue to rise. News Rocky will share the story. We'll continue to support people who want to tell the truth. And I'm not talking about Republicans. I'm talking about Democrats and Republicans. I'm talking about liberals, independents, unaffiliated. I'm talking about people who are American citizens, who are frustrated with the control that you think you own. See, each and every term we give you some kind of sense of control and ownership. You don't own it. Congress, Senate, presidents, elected officials across this country and this great America and this state of Connecticut, be warned. Your time is numbered. We are tired. We are tired of being lied to. And you know what? Even the people who support this impeachment today, I will promise you, will start turning on you. They'll turn on you because your own gross attempt at control at all costs is being exposed. Every day we get to see a little more, the snapshot into a Don Lemon or a Cuomo, CNBC. We can go down the list of all the anybody you want to talk to who's a commentator. The news report that comes out of Washington, D.C., across the country. It's amazing. Now let's talk about First Amendment rights, guys. News Rocky, we are exercising our First Amendment right by having this show. Am I jeopardized now? Am I going to lose my Twitter account? Am I going to get kicked off of every social media platform because somebody doesn't like what I have to say? Is that the world you want to live in America? You want to take my First Amendment rights so you can protect yours, to protect your interests? Guys, you don't even know what you're doing. You don't even know what you're doing. You know what you've done? You've entered into a space that this country will never return from. We will never go back to what once was. Now, some could say that, well, who wants to go back? And I'll agree there was so much crap that's taken place. The lies were told to us by our politicians, Bill Clinton, the Bush family, Obama. Trump, I don't care who it is. They're politicians and they lie. And you know what we do? We suffer. We suffer the pain. But the reason Trump stands out to those 80 million people like myself is because he's the first person who ever had the ability to stand up, look the nation in the eye and say, I'm not going to play that game anymore. I'm going to do it my way. I'm going to continue to represent the people. And he did. All the promises that Donald Trump laid out, he completed. He didn't complete them with excellence, with pristine performance. It was hard because he fought against an opposition party. He fought against his own party. He fought against some national corporate media that he called fake news. And you know what that did? He got an attack on him from day one. 2016, folks, this is when this impeachment hearing began. 2016, in the Russian investigation, that was proven to be fake and false and inspired by the previous administration under Barack Obama and now your president and mine, Joe Biden. But you don't care about that, do you? You don't want to hear about the facts. You want to just see blood. Until Donald Trump is laying on the floor with a gunshot in his head, you won't be satisfied. You savage beast who sit there and try to criticize the people who are in conservative roles. You try to make it as if we're the evil ones. You are savages. Savages, because you're allowing a pass for something that you know is wrong, just to satisfy your own desire. Well, you know what? When you belly up to your plate tonight and you gobble down that steak that you lust so much, and you find the satisfaction that Donald Trump was impeached again, it doesn't make a difference. He's going to run for office in 2024. And if it's not him, it will be one of his children. And get it straight, folks, there will be another Trump in the White House. And you can like it or not, it's going to happen. And guess what else is going to happen? The AOCs of the world, this socialist push that's coming onto our country. Guess what you're doing? The next generation, they're not going to understand. They're not going to understand a democracy. They're not going to understand how government works that protects and provides them the capitalist world that we are the leaders of. No, they're not going to live in that world. They're going to live in a socialist world. AOC is going to get such an energy from this because you people who want to go and get blood to satisfy your own lust because he's not a politician. Well, you know what? I'm glad I'm not a politician anymore either. I'm glad I can see and smell what you are. I'm glad that I know each day that I watch this nonsense that takes place in Washington, D.C., each day that I watch the sweaty, wet lips start yapping, the Chris Murphy and Twiggy and Baby Arms out there, Dick Blumenthal representing as our senators in Washington, D.C., as they get up and they talk and they criticize and they create a news and articles out of something that actually hadn't taken place. Guys, the fake news to this is, look, if you're trying to prosecute someone, I'm all for it. Bring a goddamn trial then. This is less than a week. There's not enough evidence, and they want to impeach him. Do you understand what's going on? This is a sickening part of our country, guys, and you're allowing it to happen. I hope that something else comes out of this. I hope we have an opportunity where we can get to a table and have a discussion and have a resolution, and we can agree that we're going to not let the corporate media influence us. We're not going to let the insider politicians affect us. We're going to continue to stay focused on every day trying to make this country better. But you know what? I fear that can't happen. I fear we've come too far. We've come too far. And the division between us as people is too deep. When I watch people like Don Lemon get up and critique this president in his racist ways, and I mean Don Lemon's racist ways, the way that he tries to articulate about how this president's so disgusting and so gross, and the lies. CNN themselves were lying last night. They were talking Don Lemon, fake news, talking about the Senator Mitch McConnell wanting to actually enforce this impeachment, which was a lie. Senator McConnell said no, never said it, but CNN reported it. You know why? Because they're protected. They're protected under the corporate media nonsense that we see. Donald Trump called it in 2016. He'll continue to call it each day. This is News Rocky, guys. We're coming to you with our rant of the day. This is going to be an interesting one. I want you guys to stay tuned and listen in. Hopefully, we're going to have a caller here. Any calls in yet?
The action
Slay?
we take today, this impeachment is a declaration.
Okay, so when we got a call coming in, we'll definitely have that individual. Check that email. I think you should have an email if you can send it to him for a link.
In this instance, it comes from within.
Okay, so basically, again, we're listening to what's going on. Bring that up again, the CNN live coverage. As much as we talk about it, we're giving them a lot of press here, CNN. Let's see if we can pull that up on the video. And we'll watch a little bit of what these congressmen and women are talking about in this impeachment hearing. I think this impeachment hearing is interesting, to say the least. Let's listen in.
Madam Speaker, I'm sickened and angered by what we all had to witness last Wednesday and call for the investigation and prosecution to the fullest extent of the law, every single person who participated in the violence and loss of life in this Capitol building last Wednesday. I, as a member, sit here listening to the entire debate, desperately need to better understand the two standards that are at play in this House. Why is it okay if a House Democrat calls for violence in the streets, but not if you're a Republican? Why can a House Democrat be rewarded with a gavel and a chairmanship if they're calling for physical confrontation of a Trump administration official, but they will be punished if they're a Republican? The double standards that we have seen time and time again, I need to better understand what the rules are of this House. Why is it that a committee chairman can lie to the American public about having more than circumstantial evidence that the president colluded with the Russians in order to win the 2016 election, but of course the Republicans can't and wouldn't lie to the American public about something like that? We need to better understand what these two standards are that are at play and to complete the record. Because the House Democrats are here to make President Trump the first president to have been impeached twice. So I'll complete the record. First off, in the articles of impeachment, it's written that the president gave a speech and he told his supporters to come here and that he incited this riot. And one speaker after another here on the other side of the aisle have repeated that in the article of impeachment. But we all know that this was a pre-planned attack. We all know that there was pipe bombs being discovered while the president was speaking. We all know that the Capitol perimeter was being breached during the president's speech. We know that this was pre-planned and it started while the president was speaking. Why is that not in the articles of impeachment? Why is that not being incorporated into my colleagues' remarks? To complete the record, if you want to make the president the first president to be impeached twice, well, we'll add something else to that. Thank you to the president for his efforts to defeat MS-13 in my district or to withdraw from the, request 30 more seconds.
Fired. The gentleman yields an additional 30 seconds, did I hear correct?
Yes.
The gentleman has another 30 seconds.
Thank you to the president for his efforts to move the embassy in Israel to Jerusalem and recognize Israeli sovereignty over the Golan Heights and to take out Abu Bakr al-Baghdadi and Qassem Soleimani, to eliminate the ISIS caliphate, to enter into the historic Abraham Accords, to have an economy this time last year that was stronger than I ever remember in my entire lifetime. Yeah, we'll complete the record. And in all fairness, as the president leaves 1 week from today, let's be honest about the double standards that exist inside of this chamber. And let's also be honest that this president did a lot to make America greater than ever.
So we'll keep hearing that, these debates going on in Congress. There was a Republican congressman who stepped up and obviously is objecting to this proceedings. This is more about, and I think was well put in that his few moments there speaking at the podium. This has happened since 2016. This is about a two-time impeachment. This is about historical fact that, say, Democratic leadership like Nancy Pelosi, Chuck Schumer, the rest of the fools on that side of the aisle, and quite frankly, the rest of the fools on the Republican side of the aisle, how they can manipulate this because they all fear that Donald Trump will come back in 4 more years or the Donald Trump concept can come back. See, they want to destroy it. They want to kill it because if they let it even live a little bit, it will inspire people to think that maybe they can do it. Who's the next one to stand up? Who's the next one going to be? Maybe LeBron James tomorrow talks, I'm going to run for office, and he runs and gets elected. Maybe The Rock runs for office, and he gets elected. Do you want them to come in and face the same challenges? Or Or would that be okay because they're part of the Hollywood elite and it's all good? See, the problem that we have in this country is we try to separate ourselves into party politics. I understand why. I was a part of the game. But I also know this. When you look at what's going on, the shenanigans that are taking place, guys, shenanigans that are taking place in Washington, D.C., you have to be living with your head in the sand to not have predicted and understood this was coming. This is a going away party for Donald Trump. Now, do you think if Donald Trump had won this election, that this impeachment hearing would still be taking place? You know it would. You know it would. And go ahead, Don Lemon, wet your lips, Lemon, and go ahead, Mr. Cuomo, Mr. Blomo Como, because all you do is talk hot air. Guess what? You can talk all day you want. You can try to create all the facts you want. But the reality is each and every human, anybody who has a brain that can concept any of this information into actual information, anyone can conjure this story that's being told to us, they're going to see through it. And eventually you're going to get caught. You, national corporate media, you're going to get caught. The platforms who have taken the platform, First Amendment rights of us to express ourselves, and I understand it's a private business, a very tricky course, but you know what? You want to take it away from Donald Trump? We'll figure out how to communicate. You're not going to win. You're going to lose. I said earlier on, you know who's going to win? The socialist movement in this country is going to win because we're so preoccupied fighting with each other about the nonsense of control that we can't figure a way out how to work together. And that ultimately will be the demise of America. We will see America demise. This destruction of the actual platform for which we are on and as Americans is something that I can tell you we should appreciate. We should want, we should engage, right? This diplomatic process that we have. But since Donald Trump's been in office, the only thing we've heard is pushback against him. He's never going to get elected, got elected. He's never going to build a wall. He's built a wall. He's never going to straighten out as the congressman talked about in Israel. He did it. He's never going to, guess what? He's done it. He's done it several times in several ways. His success and his platforms have been completed. And you know what? That's got to frustrate somebody who's been in office for 48 years or 50 years. You know why? Because when you talk about people like that, what you have is someone who is obviously someone who is successful because of his non-political background, because he's not a politician. I'm not sure how to sort of wrap this show up today. I think what I'd like to say is we're going to go to some live interviews. We're going to hopefully get some live interviews into the show. We'll bring that in. And then I think at the end of the day, I just want you guys to think about, is this the America you like living in? Is this the country that this is the one you want? If you are so excited right now, if you're just like, ooh, so happy inside that they got him. They got him. You do know they don't got him. This is the beginning through the Congress is the beginning to the impeachment process. They don't have the votes in the Senate, guys, just like they didn't during the fake Russian gate. Okay? This is all for theater, and you're falling for it. But get excited if you want. I mean, hey, you want to get all worked up in the shorts? That's fine. Do it. I don't care. I'm just going to tell you the truth, what I feel. You're watching News Rocky today. News Rocky's coming to you live. We're doing some commentary on this ongoing impeachment hearings. We'll be covering this and many other topics going forward. Again, stay with us today. This episode of News Rocky's coming to you from the Pie Hop Studio in downtown Norwich, right here at 80 Broadway, where we love to come to you each and every day by hopping in the ring and getting down and dirty, trying to figure out what the news and the fake news of the day is, and drilling around each and every day like a pile driver in wrestling. Guys, I'm going to take a little, so stop here. I know Justin hates this. Thanks, guys, for tuning in to the News Rocky Show today. I think we covered a lot of this ongoing impeachment process. We've been listening to the folks down in Congress that are getting up on the House floor talking about what's going on and their opinions. That a week ago, this insurgents on the Capitol was not only plotted and planned. There are accusations that it actually was executed by Donald Trump. This week, I guess it was less than 7 days ago, this push to have him impeached was put together. So a hearing to impeach the first time in the history of this country, a two-time impeachment process, the first time in the country's history, they put together in a week with no evidence, with nothing more than videotape of him telling people to go down and raise hell and let them hear you, and never once told to kick in doors, never once said to go hurt people, never once said to the parties that were in this group down there, these millions of Americans, to go down and cause trouble, to do anything other than to be heard and be recognized. The same thing that was told the Black Lives Matters and other movements across this country. When you see people like Congressman or Congresswoman Waters telling people to harass anyone in the Trump administration anywhere you see him. When you hear Biden said, I'm going to bring Trump behind the barn and fight him. When you hear people out there in the front of this conversation constantly being audio, videotaped, but the corporate media doesn't care. When we saw destruction going on across the country, the corporate media didn't care. They didn't call it out. They ignored it, right? Now that it's on the shoes on a different foot, we have to see this from a different perspective. You hopefully can start seeing what it's all about. Guys, you tuned into News Rocky today. This is a sort of a fast track show. We will hopefully be continue to cover this. This doesn't end today with this impeachment hearing. I don't even care when they find him guilty in Congress. It's not going to happen in the Senate. This is not going to go anywhere. This is for theater. This is for political gain, and this is the problem in America. Guys, we'll be back in the ring tomorrow on News Rocky with you. Thanks a lot.